Hello, everyone, and welcome to the View from My Window podcast, where life is explored through positive thoughts. Everyone has a window, and each window has a different view. I'm Laura, your host, and this is the View from My Window. Well, hello, my friends. It is Thursday. I believe it is 9/19/2019. And I welcome you back to the show, The View from My Window. And I'm hoping you're having a great day. And today's topic, I think that everyone, I'm sure has experienced this at one time or another. And I want to shed some light on it. It is episode number 32, and the title is The Elephant in the Room. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had this thing, or an object, or an issue that you just didn't want to discuss? It takes up this enormous amount of space in your life, but yet you just ignore it? Well, my husband, whom I truly love from the bottom of my heart, and I mean that. So if you're out there listening, Danny, this is all said with a lot of love and humor. Anyways, my husband is very thrifty. He loves getting a good deal whenever he can. He doesn't shop very much, but when he does, he tries to find the good deals, especially on electronics or sporting goods or big items. So back in January, he had come home and told me about this Bowflex tread climber that he saw. It was used, but it was in great shape, and the owner offered it at a great price since he knew them. Well, of course I was excited. I said, sure, let's get it. I was excited. I'd been wanting to start exercising, and this was going to be an incredible opportunity at an incredible affordable price. So time passed, and I hadn't heard anything about the Bowflex. Then more time went by, and I heard nothing. And the thing is, we had already paid for it, and I was wanting to put it to use. So it's January, and that's when we bought it. That's when he came home and told me about it. And then next thing I know, January turns into July, and we still have no treadmill. We had talked about picking it up a few times, but we just didn't make it happen and just didn't get it and, just didn't make time to do it. But finally, by the end of July, we'd made our way to go pick it up and bring it home. And I felt like that 9-year-old Ralphie that was in the Christmas Story. All he wanted was that official Red Ryder carbine action 200 shot range model air rifle, and all I wanted was this Bowflex TC 5000 treadmill climber. And believe me, this machine was no lightweight. It was disassembled and reassembled in 2 parts, and each part was just as equally heavy as the other one. And anyways, we finally got it assembled and put together and put in the room, and we plugged it into the wall, and we tried it. I was ready to get on it, try it. The power connection was made, and the panel lit up, and I stepped onto it, and I was ready to give it a go. But to my surprise, I got nothing. The top part was just not making the connection to my feet. All lit up and nowhere to go. So, like all intelligent human beings, what did we do? We Googled it. So we thought we had found the cause, and all it needed was recalibrated. Sounded easy enough to us, so we followed the directions and we waited to see what the results would be. The screen read L5 calibration failed. So we kept trying, but still no success. So it was a pretty big letdown. Then we Googled it some more, like we know what we're doing, right? And Google said that error code L5 meant that the speed sensor wasn't working. Well, of course, sure, why wouldn't it? So we located the speed sensor, took it out, put it back in, took it out, put it back in again, wiggled it and adjusted it. Yep, looked like it was in right. So we turned it on and tried it once again. And again, an L5 error had come back up on the screen. We were discouraged, so we decided to just let it sit and we'd work on it later. Well, more time went by, and now we were taking a break from it. And now, remember, we had bought this in January, and now it's July. And the next thing I know, July turns into August, and we're still talking about it. We knew we needed to do something, but, we just never mentioned it. I never mentioned it to him because I was waiting for him to do something, and he wasn't doing anything because I never mentioned it. So 8 months later, and we had this huge overweight Bowflex TC5000 sitting in our room of no use to us at all. We didn't want to call the previous owner because it had worked when they sold it to us, and we just didn't want to cause any embarrassment or any issues. So July turns into August, and August turns into September, which is where we are now. We finally get a technician out to look at it, and he gives it a thorough check, and he says, well, if this was my treadmill, I wouldn't put any money into this machine. It could be a number of things wrong, and it would be basically a process of elimination. So he then writes the bill, hands it to my husband, and goes off on his merry way. So I say all of this to paint this picture for you. There's this room, and in this room is me and my husband, and this elephant. This elephant sat in the room for 8 months. And I'm wondering, how long will it take to remove it? When I say elephant, I mean it in two ways. First, it's huge and heavy, and it's not going anywhere on its own. And second, this has been an obvious problem since the beginning when we decided to ignore the issue. Now, I tell you all this only because I can look back and laugh and learn from our mistakes. Number one, if it took 7 months to even pick it up, that elephant was already in the room way before it arrived. Number two, if it sat for 2 months knowing it wasn't working and we ignored the issue, definitely an elephant in the room. And number three, once we knew it didn't work, did not want to spend any money on it to repair it, and it takes another 2 months to decide how to get rid of it, it's time to kill that elephant, people. And I mean that in an idiom way that it is. But seriously, don't we all have an elephant in the room that we just don't want to face? Maybe it's a failed marriage. Maybe it's a debt. Maybe it's a bad work environment. Or maybe it's with yourself. Maybe your life is lived with a low self-esteem. Why are we so comfortable with ignoring the uncomfortable? Is it fear? Is it easier not to make waves? Or maybe we just don't care enough? The elephant in my particular story was that we had purchased a broken product. Regardless of whether it was working before, during, or after the purchase, it was still broken. No blame, just stating the facts. Usually we just return a broken item, but in this case, the elephant couldn't be returned. But that doesn't mean it should have been ignored. We shouldn't have ignored it. The only way to expose it is to communicate about it. Over the past 8 months, I can honestly say I should have talked to my husband about this elephant. Maybe it wasn't a relational changing, life rearranging kind of elephant, but nonetheless, it was an elephant. I avoided, and in return, he avoided it. And although we both recognized it was an issue, we just didn't do anything about it. So my theory is, if you think you have an elephant in the room, please make it known. Talk about it. The longer you ignore it, the harder it will be to bear the weight. The longer you ignore it, the larger it becomes, and you won't be able to bear the weight. And who needs an elephant in the room, right? I love this quote from George Bernard Shaw, which says, "The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place." What wise words to reflect on. I love that. Well, I'm hoping that you do not have an elephant in the room. And if you have a problem going on with someone, with a family, friend, a co-worker, whoever it may be, and you feel that there's an elephant in that room, please get rid of that elephant. Do whatever it needs done to get rid of that elephant. Open up and talk about it. Just expose it for what it is. I want to close. I don't have anything else to say other than I hope you have a great day, and I hope that you take these words in and think about them and get rid of the elephants in your life. And I thank you for listening. Also, if you're not sure where to find me on the internet, you can follow or subscribe through a few platforms. Just look on Spotify or iHeartRadio, YouTube, or iTunes, Facebook, or my blog, The View from My Window, Laura.com. You can look me up on any of those. But I want to leave with you some music. And to the ending of my story, I advertised the broken elephant on the internet to give away for just to get rid of it to anyone who wanted to take it off my hands. And believe it or not, I had a taker. He was somebody who knew how to fix things. He knew a little bit about electronics. He knew some things about the treadmill, and he seemed pretty confident that he could take it home and fix it. And I hope that he was very successful in that repair. But just to let you know, yes, we did finally get rid of the elephant 8 or 9 months later, and it is gone. So I have learned from this issue, I have learned that definitely don't let time go by so long when you know that there's an issue there that needs taken care of. Just expose the elephant for what it is. Until next time, guys, I love you, and I hope you have a great day, and take a listen to this song.